Дойче Думков, ты еще увидишь, как из-за твоей продажной глупости, Анна-Лена Бербок, Берлин будет гореть.
Надо как-то сделать так, чтобы американские солдаты начали гибнуть.
Да мы сотрем в порошок Варшаву и Вильнюс.
Почему мы признаем Францию в ее границах?
Как я хочу посмотреть, чтобы Урсулиха фон дер Ляля корчилась с куском беспилотника в глотке.
Когда на сегодняшний день мы говорим, что война будет безъядерной, мы, наверное, лукавим.
По количеству на душу населения, правда, Канада ее опережает, но Америка – это мировая держава победила.
Я сейчас требую спалить Берлин.
Welcome to a new episode of Russian Hate Speech, where we break down the most absurd statements from Russian propagandists trying to fuel anti-Western sentiments among Russians. Let's begin with Belarusian politician Sergey Kevich, who calls the United States a dictatorship of the oligarchy.
In America, power does not belong to the people. It has been seized by the oligarchs. It is a dictatorship of the oligarchy, with the oligarchs controlling everything as they please. You won't find a single ordinary person among the senators or congressmen. They are all oligarchs. Not to mention the presidents, who are also oligarchs. They do not seek power for its own sake or to use it in the interests of the people. Their people do not choose the president.
While he criticizes the US for alleged oligarchy control, Belarus itself is a dictatorship where Lukashenko has ruled unchallenged for decades. The irony of complaining about ordinary people not being represented in power is almost comical, given Belarus' systemic suppression of political opposition and free elections. Next, we turn to Russian dictator and wanted war criminal Vladimir Putin, who accuses the West of imposing a totalitarian ideology.
The threat lies in the imposition and normalization of totalitarian ideologies, as exemplified by modern Western liberalism, which, in my view, has degenerated into extreme intolerance and aggression toward any alternatives or independent, sovereign thought. Today, it even seeks to justify neo-Nazism, terrorism, racism, and the mass genocide of civilian populations.
Putin's rhetoric is yet another attempt to invert reality. He decries totalitarian ideologies while presiding over a regime that jails dissenters, censors media, and launches aggressive wars against sovereign nations. The absurd accusation that the West justifies genocide is particularly rich, coming from the man whose forces have committed documented atrocities in Ukraine, from Bucha to Mariupol. Finally, we have Russian military expert Andrei Klinsevich, who shares his view on America's supposed failures.
The West is now guided by the past. They believe in the greatness of America and its ability to dictate something, including the vision of the future they have drawn for themselves. But our views do not align. In our understanding, a truly great America is one where its people look inward and address the problems of their own country. We will consider America a great country when it begins to develop its culture, education, and healthcare.
This comes from a regime that systematically underfunds its own healthcare and education systems, leaving millions of its citizens in poverty. It's ironic for a Russian expert to lecture others on greatness while Russia's infrastructure on social systems crumble under the weight of corruption and war. Today's statements reveal a clear pattern in Russian propaganda. Blame the West for the very flaws that define its own regime. Whether it's accusing the West of oligarchic rule, totalitarianism, or failing its people, these narratives aim to deflect from the authoritarian reality in Russia. Thanks for tuning in, and stay with us as we continue to expose the hypocrisy and absurdities fueling Russia's war on truth.